Pacifico is a Mexican lager brewed to be discovered. It's like fresh tracks on a powder day. Like that uncharted trail a stone's throw away. Like the perfect wave on a sunny day. Pacifico. Find your own way. 21 plus. Drink responsibly. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Lowe's knows that saving is always top of mind, especially this season. That's why we've picked some great deals for early Black Friday. Get free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit. More tools? Why not? Plus, we've got select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at $59.98 because it's never too early to think Christmas. Get Black Friday prices without the crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard with you live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino on a very busy Thursday edition of the program. Paul Charchian, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, coming up in 30 minutes. Week 10 fantasy takes, advice, and also player props for tonight and this weekend. The guru, John Hansen, was 5-0 with his props on Monday. He's making an appearance today as well. Best Bets in Soccer with Steve Wisk will tell you the best and worst teams in the NFL and college football ATS. And with totals, a very small, in fact, only a one-game card tonight in the NBA, but there's a great angle in college basketball I'll tell you about coming up in about an hour as well. And Pauly, I am officially a little nervous because the game tonight comes down to whether or not I hit submit with my last Survivor entry here at Circa on the Denver Broncos. And as of right now, that's the play, but we just have to let it. We have until kickoff time, basically, to get in these entries. And now we just have to play the waiting game of nobody gets hurt, right? Between now and kickoff, everybody's going to be a full go for the Broncos. But I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared of this game tonight.
Why?
Because I always get scared when I'm alive this time of year.
Well,
so it doesn't matter which team I take, right. I think.
What are your other options?
Seattle's an option.
Okay.
Carolina is an option.
They've lost 10 in a row when favored.
Carolina?
That's incredible.
Yeah. Buffalo is an option.
Okay. I take the home team. Well, you've talked about it all week and just how bad this spot is for the Raiders. When you're going overtime, short week, Thursday game on the road, it's all-time bad with these numbers, what you're facing. And a 4-27 straight up run, how bad it's been with a team that's in this spot, and the Raiders aren't good. So you take out the week one win, the fluke, beating New England. The only other W is against Tennessee, and they didn't do anything in that game as well. You trade Myers. The only thing you have going for you right now is Bowers, who was so good against Jacksonville with all the targets. More on him coming up from a prop standpoint, but I have a source that it's not good inside the building, and if it doesn't go well tonight, this could be it for Chip Kelly.
Oh, he could get canned after the game?
Huh. That's something to watch as well. Maybe not right after, but he won't make the next game. So it's been a little disappointing what this team has looked like. I certainly didn't think Carroll envisioned this being this bad and how it's played out. I know they should have won the Bear game, as you said, and you could have beat Jacksonville. But to be in this position where you don't have a lot of hope and Geno wasn't the answer at quarterback and you can't get your rookie stud going as well, who's only gone off in one of the games. And I guess you could point the finger maybe with the play calling as well, but we knew the offensive line was bad. It's just I think there could be more changes, and you trade Myers at the deadline a couple days ago as well. So, and then you're going against a number one defense, too.
I know. So let me ask you this. How good do you think Brock Bowers is?
I think he's excellent.
So is it possible that the team wasn't really that great offensively pretty much the entire year because he wasn't playing? Comes back in game one, scores 3 touchdowns, and does whatever he wants against Jacksonville. I get it as Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, to have 13 targets and 12 catches.
That's pretty good.
That's nuts, yes.
Yeah, I think that they won't miss Myers, is my opinion. I don't think they're going to. I think they have other guys who can step up.
Trey Tucker?
Sure.
Who's going to be that guy?
I think, well, first of all, I don't even really consider Brock Bowers a tight end. He is more of a wide receiver option. So he'll be option number one moving forward. And he is one of the best weapons in the entire league. Tucker, Thornton sighting tonight. I won't be surprised. And how about the draft pick Beck that they got?
Oh, all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody has to step up here other than I think Bauer's getting, 15 targets or whatever, and I think it's going to be one of those guys. But there is this, though, too. I mean, you mentioned the spot and how bad it is right now. So they just played and lost a game in overtime. So when you travel now and play on a Thursday in this situation, off an overtime loss, you're playing Thursday night, those teams are 5-15 straight up, 4-16 against the spread. I mean, this is just...
There's a 4-23 ATS number out there from Evan Abrams in this specific spot.
For the Raiders as well.
Yeah, this is crazy what they're up against. So, and then they're not good. Now, Denver's played down to the level of competition, but I just think this is where Peyton has them ready to go, and you don't want to look ahead because the Chiefs are on deck. But this is a bad outfit, and you have a quarterback who's turnover prone against a great defense that is far and away number one in sack differential and in sacks. And I think the whole key to this also is first, can you be remotely close? Are you in this game at halftime? If not, then school could be out as well.
Yep. And when you combine like advanced metrics, so you use Pro Football Focus, ESPN, they do their pass block win rate stuff, and also next gen stats at NFL. Denver is number one overall in pass blocking. They have the fourth best pass rush, and they're the third best team against the run on defense as well. So that's one of the reasons why they have 7 wins is that their lines are absolutely fantastic. But I have to admit that I'm still a little bit concerned about Bo Nix. I mean, he deserves a lot of credit.
He's great as a favorite, though.
Yeah, but last week that was trending in a terrible direction for a majority of that game.
Yep.
To his credit, though, he turned it on when it mattered most and made big plays. And I get it. Houston's defense is also very, very good. But that guy scares me a little bit. And it's supposed to be windy tonight. 35-mile-an-hour gusts up until game time, and we'll see if that actually continues as the game starts.
13-1 straight up as a favorite, 24-3 in his career covering a 6-point teaser. That also helps you out here. Now, is it just run the ball with Dobbins and no problem there? Or and how about is it Sutton? Is it Frank? Franklin has, 28 targets the last 3 games? I mean, this is nuts. But they can't connect. They're taking shots at him. He had 10 targets last week, but only had 4 receptions. It didn't do much from a yardage standpoint. But is it an Ingram game? But the weapons are there. I understand your concern with Nix. Good bow or bad bow. But I just think the Raiders are up against it here. And Denver swept them last year. They beat them 34-18 at home. They beat them 29-19 on the road. You also have to like that and how Knicks moved the ball against them went up and down the field both games.
Sure. The Raiders have also allowed 9 rushing touchdowns to running backs. That is the third most. I think what you said is probably accurate. It's going to be a heavy J.K. Dobbins game. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over his attempts. He's also 6-3 over his player prop on the entire year. Tonight, 68.5 was at DraftKings. Actually, check that 6-3 to that number, 7-2 over his prop for the entire year. Genty is 6-2 under. His number is 55.5 against this great run defense. Is he going to get to 56 or more yards?
There's a prop here. At Circa. He is 5-1 to have 90 yards.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
You know what? I think I might have to take some of that.
I've never seen a number that high.
You're buying at almost his lowest point. If you would have told anybody before the season started that in any game that Genty's going to play in this year, I'll give you 5-1 for him on 90 yards, people would have said after the draft and before the season started, said, I will bet that every single time. I can't believe that. That's awesome for them to offer it.
There's a lot of good numbers here and a lot of good stuff. At Caesars, Brock Bowers, 2 catches every quarter, 11-1. 50 yards each half. Plus 650.
Paul, those 2 catches in every quarter, if he's going to have a dozen targets.
I know. To have 13 targets but 12 catches last week. 5 yards each quarter, 2-1. Genty and Dobbins, 5 yards each quarter, plus 380.
Whoa.
A field goal each quarter, plus 450. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here getting creative and also the blowout factor as well. That could happen. And then, of course, both teams to make a 33-yard field goal, which I like. As well in this game. But that's, the rivalry, hate each other, storyline, how going back, all the great games they've had. Funny that the Raiders have beat them 8 in a row before last year.
Right.
So, we love it. It's the NFL, Al Michaels. Something will happen tonight. It'll be great. And it's a big spot for the Broncos here. Just hope they don't get caught looking ahead.
How about this? Opta AI player projections on the website, vsin.com/NFL props. They have Geno going way over 208.5 passing yards. They also have him going over attempts and completions quite comfortably.
Yep, makes sense.
And they have Michael Mayer going over 24.5, like no problem. They have him clearing that by about 15 yards here.
Okay.
On the year, Brock Bowers is 4-1 under his receptions prop, for what it's worth. And it's juiced up to 6.5 after that great game last week.
Uh-huh. Yep. But there's some of these numbers on the Denver defense.
Oh,
Houston was 3 of 17 on third down. Are you kidding? There's been 5 times this year they've held their opponents under 20% third down conversion rate. All the sacks, how they get after the quarterback, the pressures. Now, maybe no Surtain hurts them, but didn't affect them last week. I guess your comeback could be if Stroud doesn't get hurt, they win that game. But just how good this defense is, and I don't think there'll be a look ahead with Peyton and how he conducts business in the total pro.
They're also number 1 in sacks. Geno to throw an INT is minus 175 in that neighborhood.
Wow. That's old Winston territory.
It really is.
That's high.
Yeah. And is it going to be a Bo Nix game on the ground, though, Pauly?
Oh, it has to be. Yeah. Longest rush over 11.5. It's got to be in your portfolio. It has to be on the app. Absolutely.
Yep. The Raiders have allowed the 5th most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks the entire year. He'll take off at least a couple of times in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that this is, if I hit submit on the Broncos tonight, I don't want to have a 3-hour sweat on my hands.
Uh-huh.
Can we take care of this one early, guys? Because Thursday nights, man, they've been tricky.
Yeah.
Some of these games.
Well, these are going to be big coming up because next week we got the Patriots laying 11 against the Jets, and that's going to be used as well. That's going to be a big one. So it's, again, Carolina's lost 10 in a row as a favorite. The Bills going on the road could be close to 95% humidity. You can't burn the Lions. They play twice on the holidays.
Right. I will say that
brutal week.
Thursday night home teams from week 9 on have been awesome since 2016. 44-28 straight up and also 61% ATS.
All right. Best time of the year. We got a college basketball game to talk about with a 20-point move on the total. We have to get to Sports Equinox Special. Full access through May 1st, only $120. Less than $20 a month. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The DK and Circa betting splits. The AI prop projections. NBA continues to be on fire. And also the NFL. Limited time offer. It won't last. Less than $20 a month. VSiN.com/subscribe today.
Win-lose up next. He makes his return tonight, and projections at vsin.com are expecting a big game.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Well, maps are bad. That one I had right. Pelicans do it again. What's going on? Pelicans have won 2 in a row. Break them up. Plus 250 on the money line. They get it done. Oubre again. He's another A.J. Green. 8-0 to the over on his 3-point prop. Got that again. And the blowout loss to Cleveland. Knicks 5-0 at home. Cam Thomas 8-0 under his rebounds. Pritchard and Derek White 3-pointers made under 8-1 run. White under PRA 8-1 run. And a great job. We threw it out there last week. I wasn't this aggressive, but if you don't have Levine, who's going to score for Sacramento? Well, DeRozan got to be a little bit of Westbrook. But thanks to the viewer who sent it in, he played him triple-double, 12-1.
Yeah, we left money on the table last night with that angle.
Yes.
He's always...
no Sabonis either.
Right.
I mean, someone's got to score, and they were great, and they won the game.
I mean, you just put it this way. And by the way, that number will go down now. He'll be like 4-1 probably. Anytime that a team that Westbrook is on is going to be missing like 3 or 4 key guys, a triple-double is going to be possible with him.
Yeah. Yep. Marquette over 148 up to 155.5. Got there. Indiana, ice cream, 24 up to 30. 198-51. The Maple Leafs have played 9 overs in a row. Great hockey numbers in top bottom later. Blue Jackets goal in the first 10 on the road. 7-0 run. Thanks to Ian Duncan and Chris Otto. Subscribe, be part of the team. vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. You guys have been great. Keep sending them in like one viewer did. You see this? The human comes home from work. The dog pretends to be in the crate all day. He's on the couch. Oh, I hear. coming home. Goes back in the crate. Oh, door opens. Hey, how you doing? Welcome home. Okay.
Good to see you.
What a move this is. From the couch. It's comfortable up here, sure. Oh, I hear something. Yeah, okay. I got to run over quick, back in the crate. Right here, come. Okay, walking through I hear the keys jiggling.
Hey, Mom.
Hey. Yeah, that's awesome. So smart. I love it. Can't get enough. Kelly Bidlin, put him on the board. What'd Kelly Bidlin do?
Put him on the board.
What did Kelly?
Yes.
Kelly Bidlin. Ultimate X 50-cent dealt quads on 5-play. 2,500. I told him, well, you got to hold that 7, Kelly. You can't improve your hand. It could be a malfunction if that's another 5.
And that does happen, by the way.
Yes. Well done. Good job, Bidlin.
So 4 times across the board dealt.
Wow.
That's a great feeling, Kelly.
4 times on all
Good
5.
job.
Good job. Excellent. We talk about this, are we playing the wrong game? And I know there's casinos everywhere, but this damn Huff and Puff at Rivers Casino, thanks to the viewer who sent this in on a $3.50 push, $900,000. He gets the bonus with the chainsaws there, and I think he gets the spin.
Wait, hold on.
And then
there's chainsaws involved too?
Well, the saw,
Yeah.
excuse me. You got to get 3 saws or the hard hats, and then you spin, and then I think you get to spin again, and he must have hit the mansion bonus or something. I mean, we asked about, like, Private Plane Wayne's buddy, Motor City Schmitty. Like, how do you win $90,000 on a $5 bet? This guy won $900,000.
Yeah.
On the frickin' Huff and Puff.
Okay, this game is everything that would. It's right up my alley. You got mansions involved, you said.
Right.
Mysterious mansions. You got a chainsaw. Is there like a bottle of whiskey involved too that pops up?
You'll love it. Out of nowhere, the wolf can just appear.
And then is that a good or bad thing?
Oh, it's a great thing.
That's a great thing.
Not for the pigs, but for you, right? Love it. Excellent. You got Bodie? A viewer sent this in. We were talking about the Tom Brady thing, and Mike Palm had a point about the cloning. Why don't you just adopt? And like Mitch does, it's a great move. He went to the shelter and got Bodie.
Yeah.
And you want to name your next dog Bodie?
I mentioned, on the show yesterday, I said, when we get another dog at some point down the road, I want to name the dog Bodie. And this is from Rich. He chimed in right away with the email and said, man, I love where your brain's at. I just adopted this fella. Super fast. He said, unbelievably smart. Look at the coats on those Australian Shepherds. God, I love those dogs. And he goes, I named him Bodie.
It's infuriating because I'm on Instagram, and then how the algorithm is set. If you click on one thing with like an animal shelter and help donate, whatever, and then you're flooded with it with this, someone just dropped, this dog's 13, someone just dropped it off of it. I mean, people are the worst. Unbelievable. But that's a positive story there. Lose some. Heat Nuggets over 237 up to 242. Couldn't get there. And then the horrible news with Spoelstra after the game. House burned to the ground. Terrible. Spurs plus 2.5 to minus 1.5. The Lakers did it again.
Comeback fashion last night.
Luka was awesome, right? Tried to give it away. The Marcus Smart nonsense. Lakers win by 2. Tarleton State from 19.5 down to 15. No good. Also lose some. ESPN bet is done. They will cease to exist on December 1st. DraftKings will then take over with ESPN. You didn't have to hire a genius to. Stephen A. Smith, Mike Greenberg, Jamie Foxx, Kevin Hart. I'm not going to use your app because a celebrity or someone says to do so. Or I just don't understand this where people thought that, Stephen A. Smith giving out his same game parlay. Maybe I should go there and bet. I mean, you got to have a good product and you got to.
The whole philosophy behind this thing, going back years ago when legalization finally spread across the country, I don't understand what books are doing. It never made any sense whatsoever.
John Hamm? Leon from Curb?
Yeah, right. Immediately.
Well, why? I'm going to make a bet there because Leon from Curb says so? You're flushing money down the toilet.
Right. We'll ask you, did you ever sign up for a sports book because somebody like that was promoting it? FTM at vsin.com, on X at vsin live, and Mitch Moss Radio at Pauly Howard. I can't imagine anybody ever said, Kevin Hart? Oh, that's a guy. I love that guy. I got to go get an account today.
I think it's similar to politics. When an actor says, I'm vote for this, come on.
Yep.
A moose in Vancouver. How bad was this? Chicago and Vancouver, the total was 6. There was no score in the third period. And there were 3 goals in the last 3 minutes. 5-2 final.
Now you can put that on the board. End of the year, bad beats.
Come on.
That has to make it.
Nobody's safe. For the line move, sharp plays already there. They don't just follow the market, they help move it. Look for first touchdown selections coming out later today. Nailed Gatson a couple weeks ago. And Mr. Poison tweets as well. Powered by advanced AI and plugged into trusted insider sources. Active across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and college hoops. Don't forget about soccer and tennis as well. Documented results since 2011. Public logs and transparent receipts. Sharpplays.com. Trusted by pros. Watched by the books. Sharpplays.com. Stay ahead of the line.
There's also this. NBA has been an institution on Thursday nights for decades. I did not realize that it was absolutely... They burnt that to the ground.
Yeah, what is this up?
There's one game tonight in the NBA.
Is they're going back to Tuesdays now and embracing Monday, Tuesday?
It's going to be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday tonight, but Thursday is no longer the case. Well, you get used to something over the years, and all of a sudden you look at the schedule like, wait a second here, this can't be right. Welcome to the new world of the NBA. Now, there is a bet that I kind of like tonight, about a half unit or so on this thing. It's a player prop. Jalen Green is making his return for the Suns. And his prop was 12.5 earlier today. I played a little bit on that, but 13.5 after it moved because
the Suns are favored against the Clippers.
Well, that's because there's no Kawhi, there's no James Harden. But also, Grayson Allen was downgraded to questionable because of an illness in this game about 2 hours ago. And that's when I bet the over 13.5 minus 106 on Green. The Opta AI stats, vsin.com/NBA props. Green, they're projecting for 19.5 points tonight. If there's no Grayson Allen, he comes right back in. First game back, hammy, injury, obviously a little dicey. We saw that with Anthony Edwards the other night. But Grayson Allen's prop was 15.5. If he's not going to play, Green will probably have a pretty decent usage here in this game. So I'm on him. Yeah, but think about that for a second. And how come there's no Harden and Kawhi already?
Who knows? Yeah. I played Ottawa, Boston, goal in the first 10. Montreal and New Jersey goal in the first 10. And Jonathan Davis likes the VGK over first period. They let us down the last two. But I think Tampa's on a 9-1 run with the first period over. So I think there'll be fireworks tonight down the street.
Yeah, that's
that game. Good hockey card.
Not bad. And by the way, that angle got there again with the Maple Leafs last night. A team playing on a back-to-back in Toronto. So the second night of a back-to-back in Toronto. I think the number now is like 6-25. In that range. We brought it up on the air yesterday, and they covered the puck line.
What was Bennington doing? I wasn't trying to take the puck from Ovechkin. What the hell were you doing then? Make the thing, put stuffing it down his shorts, the breezers. I mean, that's incredible. Well, I didn't intend to keep the 900th goal puck. Well, maybe you just come out and tell the truth.
Was he going to do a magic trick with it?
He's put it. He slid it down the back of his pants. My full intention was to give it back. Yeah, okay.
So he was going to secretly keep it for Ovechkin and then give it to him after the game. Hey, pal, I kept it for you the entire time.
Oh, man. That's good.
But now
it'd be great you chuck it.
Yeah.
That happens a lot when a guy scores his first touchdown or...
What would you have done?
Good question.
And you played goalie at a very high level for a long time.
I gave up a lot of goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Would you have tried the same thing? Meet me in the alley after the game. I'll give it to you.
Be a real wise ass. You throw it into the crowd. Say, okay, now you got to pay for it. Now you let me up, fine. Toss it in the crowd and then let the bidding war go.
It's kind of like the father-son with the home runs in the World Series.
Yeah, right. $2.5 million. Let's go. We got both of them.
Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian on the program coming up next. How big of a bump are we talking about with Marvin Harrison and other Cardinals now that Jacoby Brissett is the Arizona quarterback?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Love Thursdays. Every week we get to talk to this guy. Very top of the list. Best guest we've ever had on the history of this show.
Oh.
Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian with his regular Thursday appearance. GuillotineLeagues.com, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Charch, what's shaking today, buddy?
Well, it's a bad day to be Breece Hall. I can tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Expand on
Breece Hall.
Yep.
You're one of the 10 best running backs in the league, maybe one of the 12 best running backs in the league. You've languished during your 4-year career in New York, taking handoffs from guys like Zach Wilson and Mike White and Chris Streveler and Trevor Siemian and Tim Boyle, Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields. Trade deadline's approaching. You're like, you know what? I've given you guys 4 years with the Jets. and my contract's expiring. I'm not going to come back. Get some trade equity for me, right? Go get some draft equity, Jets. And, I'll go to a winner for the first time in my life, which would have been totally fair. Jets trade away Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, but not Breece Hall, who is now stuck there. He's already raised his hand and said he doesn't want to be there. Now he's got to be there. The Jets are going to be trailing in a lot of games now because they don't have Sauce Gardner. They don't have Quinnen Williams anymore. They might just run him into the ground. Right? They might just be like, hey, let's use up whatever mileage is left on Breece Hall, grind him up. It's a bad week to be Breece Hall. He was the big loser, I think, out of this whole NFL trade deadline week.
Well, that, and oh, by the way, look at the defense he's staring at coming up on Sunday.
Oh, the Browns. This is the best run defense. Number one in run defense success rate. Number one in yards before contact. It is a brutal matchup for Breece Hall. And for a guy who can catch, they don't pass to him that much. He averages 2.5 catches a game. That is a fundamental mistake that they've made with the Jets and Breece Hall. If he'd have dropped in, there were reports that the Chiefs offered a 4th rounder for Breece Hall.
Yep. And
for whatever reason, Jets said no to 4th rounder. Now, the Chiefs gave up a 3rd rounder for Kadarius Toney 2 years ago. If you're willing to give a 3rd rounder for him, why not Breece Hall, who's actually a good player?
Yeah, good point.
They didn't do that. I think if you're Breece Hall, you're like, God, could you just have given the 3rd rounder and gotten this thing done?
I've been very disappointed with DK Metcalf. I thought this would be a bromance and he'd put up huge numbers, and it hasn't happened. So what do we do here with DK Metcalf, and what do you expect with what Rodgers? Because Rodgers has been spreading it around here.
Yeah, that's not the Rodgers we know. We spent all this time with the Jets. We're like, he's pelting to Devontae Adams with targets, and here's Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, also one of the 15 best receivers in the league, never getting a pass from Aaron Rodgers. So we had assumed, and I think reasonably so, that Metcalf, who is the most alpha receiver on any NFL team compared to the number 2, right? Calvin Austin is the number 2 receiver for Pittsburgh. We had all assumed Rodgers was going to be laser focused on DK Metcalf. Nope. He's 39th in wide receiver targets this year. 39th. That's it. You gotta blame Arthur Smith, which we do whenever we can anyway, for pretty much anything, including global warming. There's nothing Arthur Smith likes better than to send a dozen targets a game to his tight ends for 4 yards each.
Right, I know.
Where does that leave DK Metcalf? 4 catches a game. That's it. If he doesn't score, he is hurting your fantasy roster, and it's all because they don't scheme the ball to DK Metcalf. Very frustrating. Inexplicable.
Okay, so that's the negative. Let's get that out of the way here to begin with Breece Hall and also DK Metcalf. Okay. Let's do a little positivity here and look at the possibilities now with the Arizona Cardinals in that passing game as the baton. I get it. He's on the IR. He's going to miss a bunch of more games. But now we go from Kyler Murray to Jacoby Brissett, and he's a competent quarterback who can actually find receivers such as Marvin Harrison. Yes. So what are we talking about for Marvin and also the other guys like McBride and whoever else?
Well, let me start by asking you two this. Do you think Kyler Murray has a foot injury requisite of being on IR?
No.
I would lean no. I would agree with Paul.
No. I mean, the play it happened on, if you and listeners and viewers remember, the play it happened on was when they snapped the ball into his helmet and then he went diving for the ball. And there was not even anything obvious with the foot. You're looking at going, there was not even impact with the foot. How in this did this even happen? And then dragging it on, will he play? Won't he play? And, he might play, might not. And then to throw him on IR 3 weeks later is super, super fishy. I think, we tend to view Murray poorly in general for a few different reasons. He's highly compensated, so we have higher standards. That clause in his contract about actually studying the playbook was, one of the biggest red flags in the history of the NFL.
Yes.
And then tell me if you guys agree with this. The body language for Murray, especially compared to Brissett, and we don't know what's in his heart and his mind. So, this is just all we can see from TV. Jacoby Brissett is obviously playing like every start might be his last, and he's right. He's been on 6 different teams. Brissett's out there, and you can see the leadership just exuding from him. I think, and I'm curious what you think, Kyler Murray seems disinterested in the games he's actually playing in.
I've never liked him. If you just watch like pretty much any game he's ever played in, tell me how many times he's actually played within structure and with timing. It's never that way. He embraces and wants there to be like some sort of breakneck pace to every time he drops back, and he wants to run around and scramble and make something happen. That's not sustainable for a guy who's that small, and that's not how the NFL works. It isn't. And he's bothered me with that, and he's never gotten better, Charch. That's a big thing about it as well.
And I'll add this. Coaches hate that stuff. I mean, you spend all week long putting in this game plan. You've got specific things that you're trying to accomplish against this defense. And then your quarterback goes out and just wants to go play hero ball and run around, scramble, and hope that it ends up working out. Meanwhile, Jacoby Brissett walks in. He's had 3 starts here. Multiple touchdowns in all 3 games. And more passing yards for the Cardinals in each of those 3 games than any of the Murray games this year. So what's that mean for fantasy, and what's it mean for specifically Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride, the only 2 guys who really care about? Here's where Harrison really gets helped. It's not the high end, I don't think. I don't think Harrison is suddenly going to become, like 2 touchdowns, 120 yards. But what it does is Harrison had these horrible games where he was 2 catches and 20 yards. I mean, it was good game, terrible game, terrible game, good game, terrible, terrible. I think Brissett is just, to your point earlier, Mitch, just bringing competency to that position. And Harrison's not going to have these same dud games that he had been having. We'll absolutely take that. McBride was good under both guys, and I think he's going to continue to get fed. But I think we're going to see Harrison now start to just have good games and great games, and that's going to be much more bankable.
What does Shaheed to Seattle do for you?
God, I love it.
Really?
I love this. What a great play by the Seattle front office. So Shaheed is a deep ball specialist, right? He is deep balls. He's fast, gets under the ball, and then he just takes it home. That's always what he's been in with the Saints. But, the Saints now, they're languishing with Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler throwing worm burners his direction. And that's just not who Shaheed is. So they find a fit in Seattle with Sam Darnold, who leads all quarterbacks in deep ball accuracy. And he's number 2 in deep ball completions. And here comes a deep ball specialist in Rashid Shaheed. I love this fit. And if you're the defense, you have to respect Jackson Smith and Jigba to a degree where, here's Njigba running an intermediate route of 15 yards. You've got to collapse that secondary down on Njigba to cover him because he's so good. And then Shaheed's going to have one-on-one for these deep shots, and some of them are going to connect. I don't know if it's this week against the Cardinals, only being on the team 5 games. Maybe they've got, I think they'll have a few plays set up for Shaheed, but long term, this is going to be a fun fit. And we're going to find some spots for deep ball connections to Shaheed that are going to pay off, and it's going to be really fun.
Charch, true or false? At the end of this year, we will all describe Sam Darnold as former Minnesota Vikings quarterback and 2025 MVP winner.
If I were going to place a bet for MVP right now, it would be Sam Darnold sitting at, I think, 20-1. At one point mid-game last week, he was sitting at 16-1. This is.
Can you believe this?
I think Seattle's going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, do you really? You're
Seattle's
that strong on
Super
him?
Bowl. Seattle's going to win the Super Bowl. This is a team without a weakness. This is the best round. If you ask me, today, November 6th, I got to pick a team to win the Super Bowl. I'm taking the Seahawks. They are a team that does not have an obvious weakness on its roster. They're amazing against the run.
I'm sorry. What's the Rams? Now that they got thicker kicker.
Look, the Rams are a serious problem, and that is a really good team.
Yeah.
I trust Sam Darnold to stay healthy and finish out this season more than I do Matthew Stafford. If it just comes down to that, to separate these teams. And Seattle's run defense is awesome. Actually, Rams pretty good too. Pass defense is good as well. This is Seattle. If I got to pick a team to win the Super Bowl right now, I'm taking Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, so you would put zero consideration into what Sammy D looked like in the final 2 games for the Vikings last year.
I don't think that has any material relevance whatsoever to where his situation is right now and where he is as a player and the team around him.
I think that's totally fair. Very strong. Love hearing it more with Paul Charchian coming up next. We'll hit tonight's tilt in Denver, Broncos Raiders, as Brock Bowers going nuts again in this game. We'll ask him coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good to have you on board, and the holidays are back at Starbucks. So share the season with a peppermint mocha made with Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks. And one of my favorite parts of the holidays, the seasonal drinks that Starbucks will bring back and offer. And I have been a big coffee drinker for about 15 years now, and I love getting the seasonal and the holiday coffees that they make. They're so delicious. I would drink them like 3 times a week. They're so good, and they're back.
Beautiful.
And we continue talking NFL for week number 10 with Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian as he is on the Progressive guest line. That was a joy to watch last week for this Raiders offense. Welcome back, Brock Bowers. What a freaking weapon that guy is. Now they play again tonight in Denver against maybe the best defense in football. Do you think he's in store for another big game, Charch?
Yeah, this is there potentially, yes. Let's talk it through for a second. So Bowers, by the way, in fantasy drafts, taken at the end of the first round, beginning of the second round. So we put a lot of investment in him, got hurt in week 1, labored for a couple of weeks. Then they shut him down, bring him back healthy last Sunday. 12 catches, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns by Brock Bowers. That was the best fantasy game by a tight end since 2020 and the second best fantasy game by a tight end in 2 decades. That's what Brock Bowers just did last week. Now, a lot of teams attack the Denver secondary with the tight end because they've got the great pass rush. They got the great cornerbacks. Even Surtain out, it's still a good secondary. And one of the ways that you could try to chip at that team, not with your wide receivers, with your tight end. Look at Dalton Schultz last week. Dalton Schultz, 8 targets. 3 games ago, the Giants' anonymous tight ends rolled up 150 yards on Denver. So without Surtain playing, maybe the Raiders can battle with their wide receivers a little bit more, but still healthy Brock Bowers is as good as any tight end in the league. And I think he's just going to be a focal point tonight. And we're going to see a lot of passes come his direction. I don't know that the Jacoby Myers defection really changes a lot for Bowers, but maybe that's an X factor here that sends one more pass his way as well.
Are we in for a dud game here for Ashton Jeanty against this defense?
Yeah, it's really a tough defense. We just talked, you got to pick how you're going to fight the Broncos. And, we think of the great cornerbacks and the pass rush and everything, but they're also a great run defense. Last week, Houston's committee of runners ran for barely 2 yards per carry. No back has topped 60 rushing yards against Denver since week 3. And compounding everything for Jeanty, who's a good pass catcher, over the last month, only one runner has topped 8 receiving yards against Denver. They're giving up 12 receiving yards per game to opposing runners. That's it, 12 per game to opposing runners in the last month. So there's not a lot you can get done here with Jeanty, who's been great, by the way. I mean, it does, the box scores don't show it. His avoided tackle rate for Jeanty is only behind Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor, then Jeanty. I mean, he's doing everything he can with the ball. When he gets it in his hands, he's doing what he can. But the offensive line remains terrible for the Raiders. They got to fix that in the offseason.
Absolutely. So we were talking about Franklin earlier. I think it's 28 targets the last 3 games. They threw a ton of balls his way. He only had 4 catches, though, last week. Who's the number 1 receiver, and what do you want to do with Denver wide receivers? And just take it through everyone here that can catch a ball in Denver.
Yeah. All right. So this is my first official prop day of this show and play of the show, and it's a triple play for Troy Franklin. We are going over 40.5 receiving yards. We are taking the anytime touchdown at plus 185 for Franklin, and the over 19.5 yards for longest reception. I'm going to be talking for a minute here to get all 3 of these angles in for you here. For several years, Denver's go-to receiver has been the big-bodied Cortland Sutton, but the baton seems to be shifting over to Troy Franklin, as you just alluded to, Pauly. Over the last 3 games, Franklin leads the Broncos receivers in targets, air yards, and a whopping 5 end zone targets in 3 games is a ton for a wide receiver. Also in the last 3 games, Sean Payton has turned Franklin into a deep ball specialist. His ADOT, average distance of target, in the first 6 weeks was 8 yards. Very typical for an NFL wide receiver. Franklin's ADOT in the last 3 games, 18 yards, average throw, 18 yards. And that's why I love the 19.5 yards for longest reception. Is all I need him to do is to catch the 18 yards, fall forward, and now I got 19.5 yards. Among all receivers, Troy Franklin 4th in air yards this year. They're throwing deep to this kid. He runs from all parts of the field. left, right, and the slot. And why that's important, because the Raiders have one good cornerback. It's the former Packer Eric Stokes, who's revitalized his career. He hasn't allowed to score all year, but he plays one side of the field. For the other parts, running right and running from the slot, he won't see Eric Stokes, and that's a great advantage to him. The only two teams haven't had a wide receiver score against the Raiders, and that was the Jaguars and the Titans, and those are not very functional passing attacks. So wide receiver touchdown incoming. Franklin looks like the main guy now. I like the anytime touchdown in here as well at plus 185. Over 40.5 receiving yards, over 19.5 yards for longest reception.
Very strong. Love the analysis as always. So he's going to go off. Does that mean Evan Engram is impacted negatively here for the Broncos tonight?
Yeah, I like the under here on Engram. Adam Troutman had more routes and targets and receptions and snaps last week than Evan Engram did, which is weird, but yeah. Troutman did. Maybe that continues here. I don't know, but also working against Engram, an incredibly short ADOT, back to the average distance of throw. He's just 4 yards per target. That's the shortest of any starting tight end in the NFL. At 4 yards per catch, Ingram's going to have to do some major damage to get up to 31.5 receiving yards. So we're going to take the under 31.5 receiving yards. The Raiders, surprisingly decent tight end defense. They're only giving up 3.5 catches per game since the opener to opposing tight ends. So they've actually done a pretty good job against tight ends, and Engram seems to be going the wrong direction here. I don't like him getting to 31.5 receiving yards.
He's averaging 4 yards per reception on the year. Is that what you said?
That's it.
How is that possible?
4 yards. You're taking 2 steps forward, and here comes the ball, and then you got to try to break a tackle. And Evan Ingram's, he's a decent enough athlete, but he's not special. He's not going to make, he's not going to be breaking tackles downfield.
Yeah.
So I don't like Engram for this one.
Fair enough.
Take the under.
I can't wait to hear the breakdown here, and I know where you're going with this, but tell everybody why you think Tyler Warren, rookie stud tight end for the Colts, is worth a play on the under receptions this week.
Yeah, this takes some stones because Warren's been great. He's under 4.5 receptions. It's minus 150. It's because the Falcons are the best tight end defense in the league. This is the most insane stat you're going to hear all day. We're heading into week 10. The Falcons have given up 17 receptions to tight ends all year. That's crazy. 17 on the season. No opposing tight end has gone over the 4.5 receptions that Tyler Warren's line is sitting at. None all year. Cade Otton, pretty good tight end, 0 catches. TJ Hawkinson, pretty good tight end, 1 catch. Zach Ertz, 2 catches. George Kittle played against this Atlanta defense 2-3 weeks ago, 0 catches. Dawson Knox without Kincaid, 1 catch. We love Tyler Warren. You can bet him he's third best odds to win Rookie of the Year. I think he goes safely under 4.5 receptions. Nobody's hit the over yet against Atlanta.
They must be on some sort of historical pace, I would think. Only allowing basically 1.7 catches per week to the tight end position.
Yes, isn't that crazy that
wild.
We could be sitting at that level of tight end domination. Next week is a preview to my appearance next week, because Cincinnati's going to be on bye. We're going to talk about their historic ineptitude against tight ends. Yes. No team at a pace to give up more touchdowns, yards, receptions to tight ends ever than what the Bengals are doing. That'll be a topic of conversation next week.
In 90 seconds here, I don't know if you can run them both down, but you love Bateman to score a touchdown this week around plus 350, and also Wan'Dale Robinson with the Giants at about plus 215.
We'll keep it short. Bateman plus 350 anytime touchdown. You got to pick your spots. Vikings have allowed the league's worst deep ball completion rate. 59% of passes of 20 or more yards have been completed against the Vikings. Third most deep ball touchdowns already scored against Minnesota. 6 already. And that's Bateman's whole game, is deep passes. Wan'Dale Robinson, weather provided, he runs from the slot. The Bears are getting crushed without Kyler Gordon in the slot. They got Nick McLeod and CJ Gardner-Johnson in slot duty. McLeod's giving up a 90% catch rate. CJ Gardner-Johnson was just cut by Houston, came back last week and promptly gave up a touchdown to Andre Yosevich. The Bears have allowed the second most wide receiver scores. Wan'Dale Robinson, anytime touchdown, plus 215.
Yeah, that's right, because you came on here last week and you were pumping the tires for Yosevich and even like a ladder bet, and he cleared all the way up to 60 yards at a massive number.
Yeah, we hit the Yoshivash angle on exactly this. We're going back with Wan'Dale Robinson, who's the primary receiver for the Giants at this point.
Excellent. You're the best, Charch. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, okay?
Thanks, guys. Talk to you. Bye-bye.
There you go. Paul Charchian with us every Thursday at this time. Progressive guest line, guillotineleagues.com is the website. I'm still alive in 2 of my guillotine leagues. But that also means I've been bounced in, I think, 5 of them. So they're a lot of fun. Up next, a team is in action tonight in college basketball with a new coach who loves to press on every possession and go up tempo. This team's going to be involved in wild games throughout the entire year. That means movement with the total.